Hi, Mom.
Hello.
Are you ready for us to interview you?
Yeah, sure.
Hi, good morning.
These are my group members.
Nice to meet
Good
you.
morning. Nice to meet you too. Thanks for helping us on this one.
Okay, so
Yeah, absolutely.
we are interviewing Melanie Ristrom, and we have 4 questions for you. Do you want me to start with one, and then you guys can go, then I'll end again? Yeah, sure. Okay. From what you've seen from your time in the sector between educators, children, families, and leadership, whose voice tends to carry the most influence, and why do you think that?
I think that administrators tend to carry the most weight in absolute decision making, probably followed closely then by parents. If the parents tend to organize. Why do I think that is? I think because for most organizations that I deal with, and I deal with a lot of child care center organizations, it's still really set up to be kind of that either corporate or government style leadership model where decisions come from the top down.
Do you think that there is starting to be ways that that's going to be changed? Do you see it starting to be a little bit more of a democratic ideology behind like the children's voices being heard?
In my personal organization, yes. The organization that I work for is an Aboriginal community organization, otherwise known as an ACO, where now the Victorian government gives our organization funding and allows us to set our own governance. And because of that, we've implemented what we call a cultural therapeutic ways model of work. And the basis for that is self-determination. And as an Aboriginal community, we apply that not just only to the Aboriginal community of adults, but we apply that to the children that are within our organization as well. So it's very much a priority for us to do.
Oh no, we can cut that, I think. Yeah. Can you hear me?
And any investigation that I do. Yeah.
Sorry, you cut out. No, yeah, you cut out. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Any educational plan we do, any out-of-home care plan, any safety planning that we do, always has to include the child and the parent of the child. And so for our organization, yes, there is a deep change there.
I'll just have to cut things in. Okay.
Organizations are under the Victorian government. I would say that change hasn't occurred yet.
Okay. Do you want to ask your question?
Yes, please.
Ours is very much being led because we're Aboriginal.
All right, and our next question.
Just curious, as a leader, how have you encouraged, support, and build positive relationship with other teacher and educator?
So I work across a lot of different, play groups, mom and children groups, schools and stuff.
Is it just the... I wonder if I can... Give me a second, Mom. It keeps cutting out for some reason.
Off to Taylor.
Hold on. The service here is like either really bad. Okay, try it again.
It might work better if I shut the video off. You'll be able to hear me then.
Okay, let's do that.
Maybe?
Maybe that'll help.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's try that again.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I work across so many different sectors of educators and so many different levels of school or play groups and stuff. It's super important that what I do is that we do what's called safety meetings or care team meetings, where I have to really work to pull in all the different leadership or levels from a child's programming. And so what's really important there is just to bring everybody together to the table to make decisions, including the children and the parents. And then the other part that's really, really critical and important is that when decisions are made, that the planning and the steps to achieve things and goals are really assigned to people and set at a timeline so that everybody understands the end goal and what their role in achieving it is.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Otherwise, you end up with too many people at the table, and then nobody goes away and does the things that you planned about and talked about. So it's really important as a leader to also define the out and assign the tasks that need to be assigned.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's actually, yeah.
What we should do to make things go together.
Instead of it just being talked about and then nothing ever comes from it, because that does happen a lot.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what everybody's going to do. Like, that's the leadership part I think that's important, is kind of sometimes project management, even when it involves like educational plans or behavioral plans, like who's what role and who's going to do it by when.
Because it's not that the structure is the problem, it's how the structure is handled.
Yeah, how do you handle
Yeah.
the situation?
All right, and the next question is,
Yep. So the next question is like, what qualities do you think that are more important, not the most important for an effective leader in early childhood education?
I think the most important quality is probably empathy and just an ability to pick the right people to do jobs and then allow them to do that. So flexibility, empathy, and communication. So really listening to people more than talking at people. Allowing people the flexibility really do their job and an ability to pivot, things aren't working. And just to be able to support people. I think leadership is more about supporting people to be the best at their job than it is dragging people or enforcing people to do things.
in diminishing the way that they feel about their jobs.
Yeah, exactly. If you hire the right people to do a job and you're really confident in your ability to get the right people in roles, which is 99% of what leadership is picking the right people for the right roles, then you should just be able to get out of their way and let them do the job and support them with the things they need to do their job.
That's really good.
I mean, that's a good point.
Okay, and then the last one, have you ever challenged a policy or procedure because you believed it conflicted with the child's right or well-being?
Absolutely. So we have challenged a lot of different policies and procedures that have been put in place by the Victorian Government Educational Department or the Department of what we call DFFH, which is kind of the Child Protection Division. A lot of the policies that and procedures that they put in place are not for Aboriginal people. And so they didn't respect culture and the community of Aboriginal people. So, for example, even calling what my job is, which is investigations, and calling us investigators, or just the language that we use around that, was not fit for our community. And so I went back to the Victorian government and said, we're not going to use that language. We're not going to call what we do investigations. We're not going to call ourselves investigators, because those words are colonial words and they're criminal justice words. And the Aboriginal people in Australia have been marginalized and prosecuted under those kinds of systems. And so when they hear those words, they immediately shut down. And so it doesn't work for their community. So we changed all that language, because language is super important to people. So we've changed all that language. And so now when a child meets me, called an analyst, and we're looking into concerns, and we write in language that's really simple the children that I'm interviewing and working with can understand, which I think is really important. Because if what I do is supposed to allow children to make disclosures about how they're treated at school or in care, then they should be able to talk to me and hear about that process in a language that fits for purpose, in a language that works for Aboriginal children, and that's level. So we've completely redone all of our forms, all of our work, and anything about us to be in the language that Aboriginal children and families can understand.
That's powerful. That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's good to hear about that because
Well, it matters. It matters.
It
You
does,
know
and
what?
it makes
we
it makes
also-
them
we
it makes
really
them feel
think it-
like they matter.
yeah, because they
And
actually
also, we've
whatever-
changed.
We should
how
do
we
that
dress.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of those things you have to think about. So for a child to see somebody rock up in, like professional clothing or suits or whatever, that's really off-putting, and it reminds them of child protection, and that's scary. And that these are kids a lot of times who've been removed from their home or been from placement to placement, and so child protection or government or police aren't a positive thing for them. So we dress very much in our flagged clothing that comes from work, the t-shirts even, and just jeans, so that we're not intimidating, and that we're just there to talk to them on their level about what happened to them and listen. Deep listening is really this beautiful thing about the Aboriginal culture, where you just sit with a child and you wait and you listen for them to tell their story on their level, how they want to tell it.
Because they're capable.
Very cool. Oh, I love
Cool?
that.
Cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Thank
I
you.
love that. Thank you so much. Oh my god. I'm
All right.
so grateful to have Taylor and have you actually. Oh my god.
Thank you. I'll talk to you later.
Have a great
Bye.
evening.